Thakur. Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara, Hidase Karuna Kori. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara. Idase karuna kori. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara. Idase karuna kori. Diyapada chaya shoro hey amaya, Tomara charana dori. Diyapada chaya Parachaya Shodo he amaya Tomara charana dori. Chaya bega domi Chaya bosha shori Chaya guna deho dase. Chaya bega domi, chaya dosha shori, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya bega domi, chaya dosha shori, chaya guna deho dase. Chaya satsanga, deho he amare. Bose chi sangera she. Chaya satsanga, deho he amare. Bose chi sangera she. Chaya satsanga, deho he amare. Bose chi sangera she. Ekaki amar nahi pai bolo harinama sankirtane. Ekaki amar nahi pai bolo harinama sankirtane. Ekaki amar nahi pai bolo harinama sankirtane. Tumi kripa kori shadabindu diya deho Krishna namadani. Tumi kripa kori shadabindu diya deho Krishna namadani. Tumi kripa kori shadabindu diya deho Krishna namadani. Krishna se toma, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakti ache. Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakti ache. Krishna se toma, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakti ache.
Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakti ache.
Amito kanga, Krishna Krishna bole, daya tava pache pache.
Amito kanga, Krishna Krishna bole, daya tava pache pache.
Amito kanga, Krishna Krishna bole, daya tava pache pache. Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara, Edase Guna Kori. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur, Doyara Sagara, Edase Guna Kori. Parachaya Shoro he amai Tomara charana dori.
Parachaya Shoro he amai Tomara charana dori.
We Vaishnava Thakur Doyara Sagara Edase Karuna Kori. O Venerable Vaishnav Thakur, O Ocean of Mercy, be merciful to this servant of yours and purify me with the shade of your lotus feet. Your lotus feet I humbly hold. By helping me control the 6 urges and purifying me of the 6 faults, bestow upon your servant the 6 good qualities. O Master, please give me the 6 kinds of holy association. I have sat down here hoping to have your company. Alone I do not find the strength to chant the holy name of Hari. Please be merciful and blessing me with a drop of faith. Bestow on me the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours and you can give him to me, for such is your power. This wretch is simply running behind you crying out, Krishna, Krishna. And now we're going to sing the Dashavatar Stotram. On page 115 in your songbook, from the Gita Govinda by Jayadev Goswami. Turn up just a little bit, and then push the key button up. No key. Left hand. Top touch. Down 1. Go back down. 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 Now turn it up. No, turn it up. Up. Down. Now turn up the volume. Pralaya payogdi jale dritavannasi vedam. Pralaya payogdi jale dritavannasi vedam. Vihita bahitra charitra makedam. Keshavadrita Mina Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tiriha Vipulatare Tishtati Tava Prishte Dharani Dharanakina Chakra Garishte Keshavadrita Kurma Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Vasati Dashana Shikare Dharani Tava Lagna Shashanika Langa Kalevani Magna Keshavadrita Shukara Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamadhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashi Putaru Bringam Keshavadrita Nadahare Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Chalayasi Vikramane Balemadbhuta Vamana Paranaka Nirajanita Janapavana Keshavadrita Vamana Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Kshatriya Rudhira Maye Jagadapagata Papa Snapayasi Payasi Shamita Bhavatapam Keshavadrita Brigupati Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Vitarasi Dikshurane Dikpati Kamaniya Dashamukha Mauli Balim Ramaniyam Keshavadrita Rama Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Vahasiva Pushi Vishadeva Sanam Jaladavam Halahati Viti Militaya Mudabam Keshavadrita Haladara Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Indasya Vidhera Shuti Jata Sadaya Ridaya Darshita Pashugatam Keshavadrita Buddha Sharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Lachani Vahanidhane Kalayasika Ravala Duma Ketamiva Kimapi Karalam Keshavadrita Kalkisharira Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Shri Jaya Deva Kaveri Ramurita Mudara Shinasukadam Shubhatam Bhavasaram Keshavadrita Dashvedarupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Janudadate Jaganti Bahate Bugolamu Bibrate Daityam Darayate Balim Chalayate Shatrashayam Kurvate Kaulasyam Jayate Halam Kalayate Karunyavatanvate Nejan Mushayate Dashakriti Krite Krishnaya Tubhyam Namah Shri Dashavatar Stotra Ki Jai Go Premanande Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Shaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitina Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai, Hey Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jaya. Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai Gopala Jai Jai, Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jaya. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Go Premanande, Kishori harmonium. Let's hear it for the kartal players, for the Hare Krishna chanters. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Vaisesika Prabhu ki
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Chartashto Tarashat Shishimad Apai Charanada Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Chartashto Tarashat Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnavinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokupinath Sham Kund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki, Shri Jagannath Puri Ki, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki, Jamuni Devi Ganga Devi Ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Go Premanande Haribo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye. Can I have that other table too, please? Welcome to everyone. Today, here's who's here in the studio, and to those who have joined us online. We welcome everyone tonight. If you'd like to text in, the number is 650-245-7018. You can just text in a Hari Bol if you like, or if you have a question or a comment, something you'd like to add to the class, please feel free. Our operators are standing by to take your calls. And everyone who's on the internet, we welcome you tonight as we keep the vibration going here at ISKCON of Silicon Valley, and as it's going all around the world. So tonight, we're going to look at the end of chapter 3 in the Bhagavad Gita. And in this chapter, beginning page 187, text number 41, or make it 40, I'm sorry. Text number 40 on page 186. At the end of this chapter, Krishna is describing how to conquer the lower self by the higher self. And begins with this verse, which will, you can please repeat. Indriyani mano buddhir. Indriyani mano buddhir. Adhyadhishthanamuchyate eter vimohayat yesha jnanamavrittadehinam indriyani manobudhir astyadhishthanamuchyate eter vimohayat yesha Jnanamavrittadehinam. A couple more devotees like to chant. Maybe use the microphone if we have them, please.
Indriyani manobuddhir.
Indriyani manobuddhir.
Asyadhisthanamuchyate.
Astyadhisthanamuchyate.
Eter vimohayati yesha.
Eter vimohayat yesha.
Jnanamavritya dehinam.
Jnanamavritya dehinam. One more.
Indriyani manobuddhir.
Indriyani manobuddhir.
Asyadhisthana muchyate.
Astyadhisthana muchyate.
Eter vimohatyat yesha.
Eter vimohayat yesha.
Gnanam avritya dehinam.
Gnanam avritya dehinam. Word for word. Indriyani. The senses. Manaha. The mind. Buddhihi. The intelligence. Asya. Of this lust. Adhishtanam, sitting place. Uchyate is called. Etai, by all these. Vimohayati, bewilders. Eshaha, this lust. Jnanam, knowledge. Avritya, covering. Dehinam, of the embodied. Translation: the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Purport: the enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of the conditioned soul, and therefore Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. Mind is the center of all the activities of the senses, and thus when we hear about sense objects, the mind generally becomes a reservoir of all ideas of sense gratification. And as a result, the mind and the senses become the repositories of lust. Next, the intelligence department becomes the capital of such lustful propensities. Intelligence is the immediate next-door neighbor of the spirit soul. Lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter, and thus with the mind and senses. The spirit soul becomes addicted to enjoying the material senses and mistakes this as true happiness. This false identification of the spirit soul is very nicely explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:84-13. Yasyatma buddhi kunapetridaktuke Soti kalatradi shubhauma ijjati Yatirta buddhi salilena karichij Janishwa abhigeshu saeva gokaraha. A human being who identifies this body made of three elements with his self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of birth worshipable, and who goes to the place of pilgrimage just to take a bath, rather than meet men of transcendental knowledge there, is to be considered like an ass or a cow. And here Krishna is identifying the sitting places of lust. And he says they're in the mind, the intelligence, and the senses. So this is called adhishtanam, their sitting place. And the lust, vimohayati, is what bewilders the knowledge, the real knowledge of the living entity. It becomes avrita, a covering for the dehinam, the embodied. So again, the translation is the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. So first, Prabhupada describes this as our enemy, and earlier on, in the translation, we've heard that the eternal enemy of the soul is this lust, kama rupa durashadam, and Krishna recommends that Arjuna do away with this lust, which is his enemy. And now, in military terms, he's describing how the enemy is taking different strategic points. And this is important to know because through analyzing what is the situation on the battlefield, where the enemy is situated, we can then make a plan to overcome the enemy, which is lust. And so, first of all, but the enemy has captured different strategic positions in the body of the conditioned soul, and therefore, Lord Krishna is giving hints of those places so that one who wants to conquer the enemy may know where he can be found. So that's important. Generally, people don't know that they're fighting against an enemy. In fact, they're not fighting. They're just going along and being dominated by this force of lust. And they take it to be natural. However, we hear in the famous prayer, which you'll probably find in your shloka book, Prabhupada quotes often, Kamadinam katina katita palita durnideshas tesham jata mayina karuna natrapa no pashanti utsrijaitana ta yarupate samprata labda buddhis Amayata sharanam abhayam mam nyungshva madasye. So you can see if it's in that shloka book. Kamadinam katina katida palita durnideshas. So this is also being described, the lust is personified and is being called the bad masters. What are those bad masters? They're Kam, Krodh, Lobh, and Matsarya, lust, anger, envy, and so forth. And these are compared to bad masters. Means that I'm working for them. That's who's dominating me. That's who's telling me what to do. Did you find it? What page is that in? 401. Fantastic. We can have a look at this verse. 401. This is a beautiful, beautiful verse, and it's nice to chant also. It's quoted in the CC Madhya 22:16, if someone will run and get that. Madhya Lila 22:16. Srivas Pandit, our Pandit, is already on the spot. So, Kama Adinam. So, you look at the bottom of page 401 and say, Kama Adinam, of my masters, such as lust, anger, greed, illusion, and envy. Not very nice masters. Kama Adinam. These are the masters that I'm working for. Kata, he's asking, how many? Na, not. Katida, in how many ways? Palita, obeyed. Durnidesha, undesirable orders. Tesham, of them. Jata, generated. Mayi, unto me. Na, not karuna, mercy. So, Kama Adinam, katina katida, palita, durnideshas, tesham jata mayi na karuna natrapa no pashanti. O my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. So, first of all, this is an important statement. There's no limit to the orders of lusty desires. And means that if we try to quench the thirst of lust, it simply expands, like putting gasoline on the fire, and it becomes more encouraged the next time. And that's a fact. The more the senses we engage the senses unrestrictedly in sense gratification, the more they demand. So they become voracious after a while, and then addictions grow. In fact, it's easy to fall into any kind of little addictions. Looking at your cell phone it's like people do this all the time. They have to see what came in and so forth. The senses get addicted to certain things very easily. And then they demand. They demand more. And you say, no, not right now. And they say, yes, now. I said now. And if one isn't strong enough, one simply gives into those senses. And where do they take you? To hell, basically. So, first of all, the devotee is recognizing that these are bad masters. Why do I want to follow these masters? And he's asking the question, for how long have I done this? How many ways have I obeyed these masters? And he says, I've rendered them so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me. Even though it's with so much service to the bad masters, they've never given me any mercy. And in one translation, Prabhupada says, they've never given me time off. And I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. So this is the beginning of conquering the lower self by the higher self, is to be aware of the fact that the senses are giving orders. Notice it. Don't just think, I am going along, I'm doing what I want. Oftentimes people think that this is me. This is how I roll. But you're being rolled, you're not rolling. You're being rolled by the senses. In fact, Shankaracharya in one of his poems describes the senses as highwaymen. Highwaymen are scary. You're driving along the road at night. This happens sometimes in Vrindavan. People take the back road from Govardhan. This used to be a notorious road. If people take the shortcut at night and you come around a corner and there's a log across the road, and then next thing you know, there's highwaymen with guns. They take all your money, who knows what else, and then So Shankaracharya says, these highwaymen have hijacked me. They've taken all my wealth and they threw me in a hole. They threw me in a pit and just left me there to die. So we should be aware of the fact when we sing this song, Sharira Vidya Jal Jodendriya Tahikal, this is very serious. It's the happiest time of day when we sing the song, but it's a serious prayer that the senses are a network of the past leading to death. Sometimes when new people come and we say, here's our prayer, we say before we eat. The senses are a network of the path leading to death. And I thought we were just going to have the snack or, a picnic or something like that. But this is a serious problem for the soul who's being abducted by these bad masters, by these highwaymen who are throwing me into a ditch. And I must become aware of the fact that they're demanding so much of me and they're not my friends. Then, he says, I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. This feeling of shame, I have not been ashamed. So, material life is an embarrassing situation for the soul. Basically, I've been profaned by my own stupidity and become a victim to Maya. And therefore, Deyam Sada Paribhavagnam Abhishtadoham. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, you can also have a look at this verse, but keep this page marked. Keep this one marked, and then look at this one. Deyam Sada Paribhavagnam Abhishtadoham. 271. Let's have a look at this one while we keep the other one in place. 271. And here at the bottom, 11.533, this is a verse spoken by Karabhajana Muni, where he says, Dhyayam Sada Paribhavagnam Abhishtadoham. So Dhyayam means fit to be meditated on, and he's talking about Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet. And then he says, Sada, always, Paribhava, the insults of material existence. The insults of material existence. So this is Paribhava. And Gnam means to kill or to diminish. So to destroy these insults that we're getting by allowing ourselves to be victimized by these highwaymen, one should meditate on the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I thought I'd point that out. Now we can go back to our original spot. And in the next section, he says, O my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty. So he's appealing to Krishna now, the personality of Godhead. We're back on page 402 in the Shloka book. O my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty. So he's appealing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's actually a person. Recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened, and now I am giving them up. Who's he giving up? Bad masters. And who are the bad masters in Sanskrit? What is the term in this verse? Kamadinam. Kamadinam. So he's giving up these kamadinam, these bad masters of the senses, such as lust, anger, greed, illusion, and envy. And how is he doing it? He's appealing to the Supreme Personality of God. He's making this prayer. So then he says, now first of all, it's very important, he says, labda buddhi. Labda means to gain, and buddhi means intelligence. So you have to have some intelligence to move forward in spiritual life, because you have to conquer the lower self by the higher self. So the intelligence, the buddhi, has to be awakened. So now he says, my intelligence has awakened. And this is a starting point for many people. They realize suddenly that I'm meant for something more. And I'm simply following my senses, but no more. I'm going to try for this. I'm going to begin in Krishna consciousness. When Shakar Malik and Dabir Kas, who were Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, they had some name they were given as employees of the Muslim king, met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just afterwards, they became enlivened to give up everything and go join Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they had written a letter to Mahaprabhu saying, we want to join you. And they had gone to meet him. And Raghunath Das, who was from a billionaire family in India, also saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wanted to go off and join. And finally he did. It took some doing, and it does take some doing. Once one's intelligence awakens, and I say, this is it, I'm going, it's a long life. There are many stages one has to go through. Sometimes when devotees first come to Krishna consciousness, they feel, this is it, I'm going for it, no problem, and they jump in. And then, of course, there are challenges that come up. And Krishna warns us about these in the Bhagavad Gita, that there are many changes that take place in the body, the mind, in the material world all around us, and so forth. And we have to learn to be tolerant. And we have to go the distance. We really do have to go the distance in this lifetime through the different stages of life. There's a stage of life when we're, of course, if we're very fortunate to be born into a family where the mantra, the vibration is going on when we're just children, then that's due to our past activities in Krishna consciousness. But if not, at a particular time, we may pick it up where we left off previously, or by some very, very strong preaching of an empowered devotee, we may awaken somehow. One way or another, one's intelligence awakens, and he or she begins the process of devotional service. Then what? You have to fortify the intelligence constantly, because it can become easily bewildered again, especially in Kali Yuga. There are many distractions, and everywhere we look, even though now it seems like the norm, there are all kinds of images and sound vibrations which are bombarding us. And mostly they're lower vibrations that have to do with stupid things, that have to do with these bad masters of the senses and so forth. So there's not a lot of fortification if you just walk around the world unaided. So we have to have a very strong program in Krishna consciousness to go the distance. So even after the intelligence wakes up. That means we have to grab on to the lotus feet of the Lord and the process of devotional service. And then he helps us from many different angles. So then the devotee says, due to transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and I now come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. Isn't that a nice prayer to make? Please engage me in your personal devotional service and save me. And I refuse anymore to serve these bad masters of the senses. And this is quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22. Who knows what the name of the chapter is besides Srivas Pandit? That's right. Very good. Process of devotional service. You should be familiar with this chapter in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it's where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching Sanatana Goswami about devotional service. And you should read this 50 times, 100 times if you can. Go over and over it, because it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally teaching Sanatana Goswami, and you get to listen to it. That should be relishable for your intelligence to hear that. And there's a purport to this verse given by Srila Prabhupada. Shall I read it? Yes. Absolutely. We got to hear this, right? This verse is also quoted in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3:235. Do we have one of those in here? You have it on your iPad mini? The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? I'm way up on Mount Meru here. Could somebody grab the mini iPad? Anybody who knows how to work an Apple? You're kidding me, right? You know how to work an iPad? Nobody has an iPad? There you go. You're hired. It's on the... Okay. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. I have it on there in my books, in my library. Just look it up. Let's see what we have. That would be Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.235. There's probably some fantastic commentary in there on this verse. And here we go. This verse is also quoted in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 3.235. When we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are saying, Hare, O energy of the Lord. Everyone say, Hare. Hare. O my Krishna, O my Lord Krishna. Hare, O energy of the Lord, O my Lord Krishna. In this way, we are simply addressing the Lord and his spiritual potency, represented as Radha Krishna. As who? Radha Krishna. Sitaram. Who? Sitaram. And Lakshmi Narayan. The devotee always prays to the Lord and his internal energy consort so that he may engage in their transcendental loving service. When the conditioned soul attains his real spiritual energy and fully surrenders unto the Lord's lotus feet, he tries to engage in the Lord's service. This is the real constitutional position of the living entity. What a relief. After being dominated by these bad masters of the senses for so long, since a time immemorial, now by good fortune, one comes in contact with a devotee, comes in contact with Shastra, and then the intelligence wakes up. And this is a happy day for the soul who realizes his real prospect in life. Did you find it? Did you find the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Yes. Oh, good. Okay. So, I'm continuing with the purport in the Bhagavad Gita. And that is on page 186, text number 40. And Prabhupada says in the second sentence, mind is the center of all the activities of the senses. And thus when we hear about sense objects, the mind generally becomes a reservoir of all ideas of sense gratification. So just like that, the mind, when it hears about some kind of sense gratification, just picks it up. And then there's a process through which all the senses line up and they make some plan through the intelligence how they're going to get it. And then there's a lot of time wasted. Could be millions of lifetimes just trying to go after this kind of sense gratification. And one thing leads to the next. I think I mentioned the other day the way that the software works on the internet nowadays. If you write one word, like popcorn, next thing you know, there's a whole lineup of products that are related to popcorn along the side that say, and you might like this. You need a little butter with that, right? And that's what you do? Okay. So that's the way the mind also works. A reservoir, just like the internet is a reservoir of all kinds of crazy ideas and images that just pop out of nowhere. Who knows where they're all coming from? I don't think even the creators of the internet or anybody who's programming knows what they've gotten themselves into. But the mind is like that also. It'll begin to conjure all kinds of ideas and then sub-ideas and related ideas, combinations, permutations that go on forever. And one can wander in this myriad images and thoughts and desires forever. So we have to become aware of the fact that the mind is this reservoir and that whatever goes into it sticks in there. Next, and as a result, the mind and the senses become repositories of lust. Repositories of lust. Next, the intelligence department becomes the capital of such lustful propensities. Intelligence is the immediate next-door neighbor of the spirit soul. So that's interesting. Intelligence, first of all, the intelligence department becomes the capital of such lustful propensities. So for the mind and the intelligence. So we know that there's a hierarchy mentioned by Krishna in this section of the Gita where he says, Indriyani prayanyahur indriyabhya param manaha manasastu para buddhir yo buddhe paratastu saha. Lowest of all are the senses. Above the senses is the mind. Above the mind is the intelligence. Above the intelligence is the soul. So now, just as in wartime, the enemy moves through and it captures different strategic points and it gets closer and closer to the capital. So as the senses take in this information and then it goes to the reservoir of all these thoughts, the mind, and it overflows, and then it comes into the intelligence, then it's getting dangerously close, because the intelligence is meant actually to figure out how to serve Krishna, but when it becomes infected by lust, then it starts to think about how to enjoy the material world. And living entities are pretty smart. They think of all kinds of ways. You look around and you just see, like, who thought of that? Who had time to think of all these? This modern civilization it's running its course of all these thoughts and desires. They get into the intelligence, and we need an airplane. You've got to fly across the sky in order to get to New York City. Let's go faster. Transportation. I was watching the cars go by yesterday and thinking, what a lot of work, to move around in a big pile of tin everywhere, dumping oil fumes into the air and everything like that. And where's everybody going anyway? Prabhupada used to point out dogs run on 4 legs and the cars run on 4 wheels. And if the purpose is the same, then there's no difference. And you see dogs sometimes. I always wonder how they know where they're going. Because on the Dham, I'll be walking around Govardhan and I see these Dham dogs. They run past me the other way with very focused on just, they know. And anyway, they're going. They're going and going and going. And also, people drive every day. They're driving here and there and everywhere, and they're very determined. They think they know where they're going. But it's for the purpose of indirect or direct sense gratification. And therefore, this is an activity which is dominated by these bad masters, because the intelligence has been overtaken. So next, lusty intelligence influences the spirit soul to acquire the false ego and identify itself with matter, and thus the mind and the senses. So this connection we have to the material world is facilitated by the false ego. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes how prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara itya. I'll start that again. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So the bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of this ahankar, thinks that I am the doer. I'm the doer of activities, which are in actuality carried out by material nature. So there's an identification with the body and the senses, thinking, I'm doing this. But Krishna says in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Nakartritam nakaramani lokasya srijati prabhu nakarma palasam yogam subhavastu pravartate. That the soul is not actually acting. He's acting according to his subhav. That's moving his nature that he's acquired from the 3 modes. The body is an accumulation of these modes of material nature, and they're working according to how the modes of material nature work, and the soul's simply there in a passive state. Nakartritam nakarmani lokasya srijati prabhu nakarma pala samyogam. Nakarma pala samyogam. He doesn't create the fruits of his activities. He doesn't take in let's look at the verse. It's in the 5th chapter, 14th verse. On page 256. Nakartritvam nakarmani. Nakartritvam nakarmani. Lokasya srijati prabhu. Nakarma pala samyogam. Subhavastu pravartate. And the translation is, the embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. And the purport is, The living entity, as will be explained in the 7th chapter, is one of the energies or natures of the Supreme Lord, but is distinct from matter, which is another nature called inferior of the Lord. Somehow the superior nature of the living entity has been in contact with material nature since time immemorial. The temporary body or material dwelling place which he obtains is the cause of varieties of activities and their resultant reactions. Living in such a conditional atmosphere, one suffers the results of the activities of the body by identifying himself in ignorance with the body. It is ignorance acquired from time immemorial that is the cause of bodily suffering and distress. As soon as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, he becomes free from the reactions as well. As soon as he becomes what? Aloof. Aloof. Everyone say aloof. Aloof. It's a nice word to think of sometimes, that you just become aloof. It has something to do with the ship, going off on the other side of the ship. You can look it up. Dictionary's right there. Aloof. Become aloof from the activities. And as long as he is in the city of the body, he appears to be the master of it. But actually, he is neither its proprietor nor controller of its actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of the material ocean, struggling for existence. The waves of the ocean are tossing him, and he has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. That alone will save him from all turmoil. But there's a way in which this ahankar gives me a false sense that I am the controller and the proprietor of the body, ahankara, vimudhatma. And so Krishna says this is a very foolish situation. Yeah.
What are these vasanas? Hare Krishna very much. Then if we are not the cause of these actions, they're triggered by the three modes.
If we're not what?
We don't cause any action. They're brought by the three modes of nature and we respond to it. What is this concept of these desires that we carry from previous births, this vasanas that we have? Like, for example, I eat something and I fall sick. So my eating is a direct effect, the cause of my falling sick. So how am I to disconnect from that? I see a direct connection from my action to its consequence. That is karma, right?
Yeah.
How do I not do something?
You have to have information that comes from outside the system. And that's described in the Bhagavad Gita. You can look up this verse. Tat favittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayo gunaguneshu vartanta iti matva nasajjate. Page 320. Third chapter. And the verse number is? 174? Page 174. So back up a little bit. Page 174, and the verse number for those of you at home, in case you don't have this version of the Bhagavad Gita, is 328. So we're not far off, only 12 verses away, right? This verse, I'll say, please repeat. Tat vavittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoho gunaguneshu vartanta iti matva nasajjate. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty arm, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the difference between work and devotion and work for fruit of results. Purport: the knower of the absolute truth is convinced of his awkward position in material association. He knows that he is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and that his position should not be in the material creation. He knows his real identity as part and parcel of the Supreme, who is eternal bliss and knowledge, and he realizes that somehow or other he is entrapped in material conception of life. In the material conception of life. In his pure state of existence, he is meant to dovetail his activities in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And therefore he engages himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness and becomes naturally unattached to the activities of the material senses, which are all circumstantial and temporary. Interesting word, circumstantial. I mean, everything's circumstantial. You can drive to your old neighborhood where you grew up, and there might be feel a pang. Oh, there's where my, grandma used to live and everything like that. But it's all circumstantial. Prabhupada wrote when he was in Vrindavan, all my relatives who used to love and care so much about me, where are they now? They're all a list of names. They've all scattered this way and that. The whole thing unravels. It really does. And then you're left looking and it's like, oh, it was just a circumstance. It was circumstantial. Like foam bubbles coming together on the ocean and then breaking apart, just for some time. He knows that his material condition of life is under the supreme control of the Lord. Consequently, he is not disturbed by all kinds of material reactions, which he considers to be the mercy of the Lord. It's a whole other topic right there, isn't it? Don't get me started. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one who knows the absolute truth in three different features, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Tattvavit. Say it, Tattvavit. Tattvavit. For he knows also his own factual position in relationship with the Supreme. So here, the Tattvavit is the opposite of the person who's the Vimudhatma. Ahankara Vimudhatma. Because he's received knowledge from outside the system. Look up this verse in your shloka book. Maya mugda jivana nahi swata Krishna gyan. Maya mugda jivana nahi swata Krishna gyan. Are you coming back? Oh, you're getting it out. Fantastic. And while you're there, in a second, when we discover where this is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can pull it out and we'll read it. 309 in your shloka book. Look at 309. What? Okay. 309. At the bottom, Madhya Lila 21:22. I'll say, please repeat. Maya mugda jivera nahi swata Krishna gyan. Maya mugda jivera nahi swata Krishna gyan. Jivere kripaya koila Krishna Veda Puran. Jivera kripaya koila Krishna Veda Puran. Not a happier sight on the planet than Kurnath Prabhu bringing us the Chaitanya Charitamrita with this verse. Do you realize what Prabhupada has given us? The facility. We could sit all day long, every day, and simply absorbed it going through the Shastras like this, because he sacrificed to give us this knowledge. This is amazing. Okay, so here we are. Let's look at it. Maya Mugda, please repeat. Maya Mugda. Enchanted by the illusory energy. Enchanted by the illusory energy. That's a funny image. Enchanted by the illusory energy. I mean, or it's a little bit sad in a way. You see someone who, sometimes when we go out on Sankirtan, and this is a good reason to go out and meet people and preach and go around places, because you see people enchanted by the material energy. I went in a bar in Texas. I admit it, I went in a bar. I do it a lot. Because they're good places to preach. People are sitting in there doing nothing. Actually, they're a little happy in there sometimes. Other places there's a little ignorance in there, but I saw a man. We went in. It was in Texas, in Dallas. We went. It was the last place we went. Bhakti and Linda was there. I think it was the first time we went on Sankirtan, and I took her into a bar. So we went into the bar, and we went around to all the workers, and we showed them the books and everything like that. And there was a man sitting at his table, and he had a big tub full of beers. And he was just sitting there watching TV, although he could barely understand what was happening because he was so inebriated. And he bought a book too. But we were thinking as we were going through there how enchanted the people inside were. There's lights, and sometimes they sit there playing poker on these screens and things like that. And in casinos, people really get enchanted. They're very popular. Very popular. Anywhere you put up casinos, people rush in there. The parking lots are full. And inside a casino, what goes on is people gamble day and night. In Las Vegas, there's thousands of casinos, and people go inside. There's no clocks. They don't put clocks inside because they don't want anybody to know what time it is. The temperature's controlled, the light's controlled. People don't know day or night, and they keep giving them alcohol as long as they keep gambling. And then there's sounds, and they calculate all these things. They put a lot of money into figuring out how to enchant people, and they just keep pulling the thing like I might win, and so on and so forth. People gamble their whole fortunes in their house and everything away. And if we look around the material world, we find that this enchantment's going on in so many different levels, and this is the nature of the illusory energy. It's called kuakam. Even in the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this description of the Lord's material nature is called kuakam, and it bewilders even the devas. Do you know the verse? The first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam? Who would like to recite it? Go ahead. Akurnath Prabhu, give him the microphone. And we'll have our judges ready to see how he does. Govindacharan and Vittal, you'll be the two judges.
Janmad yasya yaton vayad iteratas charteshwabhigya swarat. Tene brahma hridaya adika vaye muhyanti yat surayoho. Tejo varim mridang yatavinimayo yatra trisargom rishat. Dhamna svena sada nirashta kuhakam satyang parang timahi.
Judges? 10? And whatever he said. So you got 2 10s. Let's give him a hand. Muyanti Surayaha. So in there it says, even the great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they become bewildered. Lord Indra becomes bewildered. Lord Brahma becomes bewildered by this illusory energy of the Lord. What to speak of, all kinds of other living beings who are just enchanted by this material energy. Jivere. Please repeat. Jivere. Of the conditioned soul. Nahi. There is not. Swata. Automatically. So this is an important word, swata. It means automatically, and it's naswat. Nahi swata means it's not automatic that the living entities who are bewildered in this trance can come out of it. Krishna Gyan. Knowledge of Krishna. Jivere, unto the conditioned soul. Kripai, out of mercy. Koila, presented. Krishna, Lord Krishna. Veda Puran, the Vedic literature and the Puranas. Supplements to the Vedic literature. Translation: the conditioned soul cannot revive his Krishna consciousness by his own effort. But out of causeless mercy, Lord Krishna compiled the Vedic literature and its supplements, the Puranas. And now we're going to listen to, if there is a purport, Prabhupada's purport to this verse. So you got the idea, right? That it's not automatic, he can come out. So the living entity is bewildered by these 3 modes of material nature and the body. And Prabhupada's purport. A conditioned soul is bewildered by the Lord's illusory energy, Maya. Maya's business is to keep the conditioned soul forgetful of his real relationship with Krishna. Thus the living entity forgets his real identity as spirit soul, Brahman. And instead of realizing his factual position, thinks himself the product of material energy. According to Srimad Bhagavatam 175. Who knows the verse without looking? Pretty close. Yaya samohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manute nartam tatkritam chabipadyate. It's part of the verses that we sometimes chant before we recite the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have compiled verses. It's an important verse. Due to the external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the 3 modes of material nature, thinks himself a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. This is a description of Maya's action upon the conditioned soul. Thinking himself a product of the material energy, the conditioned soul engages in the service of the material energy in so many ways. He becomes the servant of lust, anger, greed, and envy. In this way, one totally becomes a servant of the illusory energy. Later, the bewildered soul becomes a servant of mental speculation, but in any case, he is simply covered by the illusory energy. Out of his causeless mercy and compassion, Krishna has compiled various Vedic literatures in his incarnation as Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is a Shaktivesh avatar of Lord Krishna. He has very kindly presented these literatures to awaken the conditioned soul to his senses. Unfortunately, at the present moment, the conditioned souls are guided by demons who do not care to read the Vedic literatures. Although there is an immense treasure house of knowledge, people are engaged in reading useless literature that will give them no information on how to get out of the clutches of Maya. The purpose of the Vedic literatures is explained in the following verses. What is the meaning of aloof? Who looked it up? Oh, you're looking for the microphone.
Distinct, especially in one's relation with other people. Indifferent, at a distance but within view, apart.
At a distance but within view. Apart. Go ahead.
Toward the wind.
Toward the wind. And where does it come from?
Loof.
Here. Where is it? Oh. It means what? Toward the wind.
In the English Navy or the English sailors, we say a weather. Or when you turn your helm to the weather, it's a weather helm. And the opposite is a lee. To be in the lee means away from the wind. But it sounds like Luft sounds like the German word for wind or air is Luft. Like Lufthansa is the name of their airlines in Germany. So it probably comes from that Anglo roots of English where that was Germanic language. And Luft is another way to say what we now say a weather.
And it sort of indicates a turning away, right? I mean... You're aloof, it's sort of like, you're not paying attention, you're turning the other direction. Right? Okay.
Go against the wind.
Go against the wind.
You know, to sail downwind, you turn to the lee. But to sail upwind is harder, you have to tack. You can't really, a sailboat can't go directly toward the wind.
Toward the wind. Distance, especially in relation with other people, indifferent, at a distance but within view, apart, aloof. Okay, thank you. So when one gets this information, Maya Mugdha Jivana Nahi Swata Krishna Gyan, and then Jivere Kripaya Koila Krishna Veda Puran. It comes out of mercy from the Lord. He sends this information so that we can become tattvavit. And once one becomes tattvavit, one can understand that there's a difference between me and the body. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyita tattvavit pashan shrinvan sprishan jigran ashnan gachan swapan shvasan Pralapan Vishwajan Grinnan Unmishan Nimishan Napi Indriyan Indriyateshu Vartanta Ititarayan. A person in the divine consciousness sees that while he's eating, sleeping, moving about, breathing, accepting, evacuating, that he's not actually doing anything. The senses are engaged with their objects and he's aloof from them. But the person who's in Maya is thinking that this is me and I'm the doer. And this is all created but because of the contaminated intelligence that then assumes the false ego. Akuranath Prabhu.
Sometimes we see, even in the Bhagavatam, we see that when demons do something wrong, then they make the excuse that, well, it wasn't really me because we're not these bodies and, you know, the soul is really aloof. So, you know, I was just, I mean, like, for example, when Kamsa had killed all the babies of Devaki. And then finally he went to kill the other baby, and it was Yogamaya, and she flew up in the sky and she chastised him and everything. And then he released them from prison, and he said, after all, we all just do what we're forced to do by nature. And, so yeah, I killed all your children, but it really wasn't my fault, And I guess the question is, going back to the other question about how do we see ourselves. I mean, we see ordinarily when we do something, there's a reaction for it. If we do something bad, we should expect a bad reaction. And similarly, if we're getting some good reaction, we think, oh, I did something worthwhile here, I should do it again, or something like that. So how should we see that then? If we really know that we're just riding along on this machine and reaping the actions and reactions from the past, but we can try to avoid creating new actions. I mean, how do we respond, for example, if we've done something wrong? What should we do in terms of remorse and atonement and what do they call it? Retribution. And if you feel like you've done something bad for someone, you want to give them back something, or like that.
Srivas Pandit Prabhu wants to answer.
Yes, I just wanted to comment. The fact is that Kamsa used so many arguments, but he himself was trying to protect his own body against death all the while along. So they just used those arguments with no belief in them. Had they had any faith in them, they wouldn't have wasted so much of effort to protect their own body.
That's a really nice point. And Kurunath Prabhu, you asked how we deal with that situation if we engage in some kind of vikarmic activity. And a devotee takes shelter of Krishna and realizes that Krishna within the heart will protect him or her from that reaction, or accepts the reaction. Srimad Bhagavatam, you can look up in your shloka book the verse Swapada mulam bhajata priyasya tyaktanya bhavesha hari priyeshaha vikarmayach chot patitam katanchid dhunoti sarvam hridi sanivishtaha. You got it? 274, page 274. Now, that's 274 in the shloka book. So sorry for those of you who don't have a shloka book in front of you. It looks like this, but we'll read it for you. Okay, so this is, if you could get me Govindacharan 11th canto, 5th chapter, 42nd verse. All say, please repeat. Swapada mulam bhajatak priyasya tyaktanya bhavasya hare priyeshaha vikarma yach chot patitam katanchit tunoti sarvam hritisan nivishtaha. One who has thus given up all other engagements and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very dear to the Lord. Indeed, if such a surrendered soul accidentally commits some sinful activity, the Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, who is seated within everyone's heart, immediately takes away the reaction of such sin. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we may have some more commentary on this, if you'd like to hear it. Okay. Here it is. You ready? Yes. Everyone okay? Yes. We're getting knowledge from outside the system. So this is how the intelligence becomes fortified by this hearing and chanting process. So we take shelter in these shastras and become acquainted with them, and they actually protect us. They protect our intelligence. We know exactly how to work. And Krishna is also speaking from within the heart. Tesham satata yuktanam pajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamam viyanti te. Tesham ivanukam partam aham ajnanajam tamaha Dashyam yatma bhavasto jnanadipena bhashvata Ishvara sarvabhutanam hridesha rajunatishtiti Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rujari maya Sarvasya chaham hridisani vishto mattak smritir jnanam apohanam cha Vedashcha sarver ahameva vedyo vedanta krid veda vedeva chaham. So Krishna is there within the heart, giving knowledge, and very specifically, he gives knowledge of how to come to him, and he illuminates the heart just like as if with the lamp of knowledge, jnana dipena bhashvata, and he dissipates the ignorance. And Krishna says that I travel with the living entity wherever he wanders. Brahmayan sarvabhutanam, yanta rudrani maya. He's on this machine made of material energy, and I go with him. So Krishna's there within, and then he gives, as we heard just now, Maya mugda jivara nahi swata Krishna gyan, jivere kripaya koila, Krishna Veda Puran. Out of mercy, the living Vyasadeva gives this information so we can come out also. Purport. In the previous verse, it was clearly described that a fully surrendered devotee of the Supreme Lord has no need to perform ordinary worldly duties. Now in this verse, it is revealed that devotional service is so pure and potent that a surrendered devotee of the Lord has no need to perform any other purificatory process. As described in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, a surrendered devotee has no need to perform prayaschita, or atonement for an accidental fall down into sinful activity. Since devotional service is itself the most purifying process, a sincere devotee who has accidentally stumbled on the path should immediately resume his pure devotional service at the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus the Lord will protect him, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 9:30. Api chet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hisaha. The word taktanya bhavasya, which just appeared in this verse, number 42, is very significant. As stated in the previous verse, a pure devotee realizes clearly that all living entities, including Brahma and Shiva, are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus have no separate or independent existence. Realizing that everything and everyone is part and parcel of the Lord, a devotee automatically is not inclined to commit sinful activities by violating the order of God. However, due to the powerful influence of material nature, even a sincere devotee may be temporarily overwhelmed by illusion and deviate from the rigid path of pure devotional service. In such a case, Lord Krishna himself, acting within the heart, removes such sinful activities. Even Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, has no power to punish a surrendered devotee who has accidentally committed sinful activities. As stated here, Krishna is Paresha, or the Supreme Lord, and all secondary lords, such as the demigods, cannot threaten the Lord's personal devotees. In his youth, Ajamil had been a pious Brahmana, engaged in the service of the Lord. Then, by bad association with a prostitute, he became practically the most degraded man in the world. At the end of his life, Yamaraj sent his Yamadutas to drag away the soul of the sinful Ajamil. But the personality of God had immediately sent his personal associates to save Ajamil and demonstrate to Yamaraj that no secondary personality can disturb the personal devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Konteya pratijanihi nami bhaktya pranashyati. The argument may be raised that the Smriti Shastra states, Shruti Smriti mamai vagnye. The Vedic scriptures are the direct orders of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, one may ask, how can the Lord tolerate that his orders be occasionally neglected, even by the devotees? To answer this possible objection, the word priyasya is used in this verse. The devotees of the Lord are very dear to the Lord. Did you hear that? So, it's very, very sweet, actually. So that, the questions being asked, the Smriti Shastras are the ones that are saying that one should follow certain, directions, and if one neglects those, how can the Lord tolerate it? And the answer is this word priyasya, which means that the devotees are very dear to the Lord. Although the beloved child may accidentally commit an abominable activity, the loving Father forgives the child. Although the devotee of the Lord does not try to exploit the Lord's mercy by requesting the Lord to free him from any future suffering, the Lord, by his own initiative, frees the devotee from the reactions to accidental fall downs. This causeless mercy of the Lord upon his devotee is his Shwaryam, or supreme opulence. This is the supreme opulence of the Lord, the causeless mercy upon his devotees. Gradually, the faithful devotee becomes free even from accidental fall downs, because simply by remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, what to speak of by actively rendering service to him, his heart is purified. Although the surrendered devotees of the personality of Godhead may sometimes appear to be affected by mundane attitudes, they are inevitably protected by the merciful Lord and never actually defeated in life. So, in answer to your question, there's every possibility that a person performing devotional service in the beginning can become waylaid or overcome by some temporary desire that pops up from the past and may even fall into vikarma. Vikarma yachjot patitam katanchid means somehow or other, from some direction it comes, and the person is contrarily engaged in a material activity. But swapada mulam bhajata priyasya, because he's very dear to the Lord, because his attitude is chaktanya bhavasa hare prayeshaha. He's thinking always how to surrender to the Lord. Chaktanya bhavasya, that's his bhav. He's thinking how to surrender, how to give up everything for Krishna. So if he's waylaid, then Krishna makes up for it. He goes on performing devotional service. And it's practical too, because if one deviates one way or another, one must go on chanting Hare Krishna constantly and stay with the process of devotional service. And we can see that the person will be rectified. Even the reputation of such a person can be rectified if he or she remains sincere and goes on, takes their lumps, so to speak. In other words, whatever they did, this is important. We brought this up the other night in the anatomy of a fall down. If someone makes a mistake or has a fall down, they have to own it. They can't put it on someone else and say, it wasn't my fault. They made me fall down. Somebody else did it. They should actually own the... Yes, Akurna? Oh, did you ever find that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? You got it, eh?
Yeah, actually, the reason was the number is wrong. I mean, it's 3230. It's not showing to be 3235. It's 3225.
Lucky to have a Pandit in the class, eh? Okay. Akurnath Prabhu?
I'm still wondering about, where the justice is for the victim. Like
you're the attorney. You should.
Maybe that's why I'm thinking that. If somebody is driving their car and texting at the same time, and then they get in an accident and cause someone to break their leg, or and lose their car and everything like that, and maybe they don't even have insurance, so they don't have enough insurance, and then the other person's life is very much severely affected by it, and I guess, we ordinarily think there should be some retribution, there should be some payback, there even should be some punishment. The government should say, you did something wrong, you have to go to jail, or you have to, do some community service, or, we expect that. And also we expect if someone does something very good, they should be appreciated, rewarded, they should become a hero, everyone is famous, everyone loves that, oh, you're the person who saved the country at the battle of such and such by risking your life. So, we're talking about this question that was originally raised, that, we're so used to thinking about the causes and effects of our activities. And, how do we deal with that as devotees when we see these issues of like law and justice, and someone did something wrong and shouldn't they have to pay?
Well, that's dealt with in the Manusmriti. There is a way in which there are strict laws of material nature that go on, because Krishna is the perfect moral agent, and he's set up this system. Although he's completely aloof from it, as he mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, 5th chapter, 5th verse. You can look at that verse. 5th chapter, 15th verse is Nadate kashachit papam nachaiva sukritam vibhu agyana navritam jnanam tenam hyanti jantavaha. That the living entities, that he's saying, Nadate kashachit papam, I'm not responsible for the sins of the living entities. Nachaiva sukritam vibhu, also their sukriti. Agyana navritam jnanam, it's due to their knowledge being covered. Tenam huyanti jantavaha. They're covered over. The person's covered over by ignorance. That's the cause, is ignorance. However, there is a justice in the material nature. And for instance, in the Manusmriti, Manu says that if someone commits murder, he should be killed because it nullifies his sinful reaction. Rather than he'll suffer more by hiding it or not taking responsibility for it in this life, and in the next life he becomes more implicated by the sinful reaction. So that there are ways in which it is dealt with on a practical level. And it's not an excuse to simply... the motive is important, and that's considered in justice also. What was a person's motive, isn't it? In the legal system, if a person intended something and their attitude is that they wanted to kill somebody, then there are extreme circumstances and punishment because of that. If it was an accident, then it may be less. If it's negligence, then that's also considered to be, they're culpable for that.
Even there's a difference if they do it like when they're enraged or something, as opposed to when they do it by planning and
like
malice aforethought and
like that.
So
okay,
it reminds me of, I wanted to say the story of the King Parikshit confronting the Kali in the first canto, and he asks the personality of religion to give evidence. Who has done this to you? To be a witness against Kali, even though Kali is standing there, he's kind of caught him red-handed. But the personality of religion really refuses to name his... he says, well, some people say the cause of our suffering is this, and some people say it's that. Some philosophers say
that's because he was the victim.
Uh-huh.
And when one is the victim of the crime, to try to rectify it by, as we just, the verse I just sent out, which was about the providential reversals that one may encounter. And in the case was Maharaj Prithu, who was trying to perform 100 Ashvamedha Yagyas. And at 99, Indra became envious and dressed up as a sannyasi and stole the horse. He kept stealing the horse. And because he didn't want to see that Prithu Maharaj would have 100 yagyas like him and lose his reputation as the person who had 100. And Prithu became angry and he chased after Indra. He wanted to kill him. Then Brahma came and he told him that you shouldn't try to reverse these providential happenings, because you become more entangled in that way, and you enter into the deepest, darkest regions of anxiety by trying to do that. If one, however, is charged with meting out the law, then one has to do one's duty in that sense. And there's ignorance of the law is no excuse. And also, if one has the attitude that I'm not my body, therefore it doesn't matter, that's not an excuse either. One still has to suffer. The ones who are claiming that they're not going to name the perpetrator are the ones who have been victimized, and they take it, that is the devotee's attitude, as Prabhupada alluded to earlier, is that this is due to my past sinful reaction, and therefore I won't become vindictive about it. Yes?
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, that kind of reminds me of, I don't remember the verse, but I have the translation. This is from Bhagavatam 11th canto, 23rd chapter, 42nd verse. This is Prayers of Avanti Brahman. There he beautifully says, I'll read the translation. He says, the Brahmana said, These people are not the cause of my happiness and distress. Neither are the demigods, nor my own body, the planets, my past work or time. Rather, it is the mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't know if it's the same context. Like we keep blaming everything that happens around us, but it's so difficult to accept that.
Yeah, in fact, in the first canto in that section, the Dharma personified says that if you try to name the perpetrator, you get the same reaction as the perpetrator. So much for victimology. Yes.
Yeah, you were reading before, or you were just reciting before that, nasajjate, tattvavit tu mahabaho, aguna karma vibhagayaho, gunan guneshu vartanta, iti matva, considering that this is all being carried out by nature, or etc., then he doesn't get entangled in the... Like, as soon as we start to think, oh, that person did something wrong to me, and now I should get retribution against them, and so forth, then we start becoming entangled in that whole process of cause and effect. We start identifying with the causes and effects, namely material things, rather than identifying ourselves as the transcendental, para prakriti. We start identifying with the inferior energy that's causing these things back and forth. And another point I had, or question, or it reminded me of the Christian teaching that you should turn the other cheek. That part of Jesus's instructions, that if someone sues you for your coat, you should give him your coat and your shirt also. If someone strikes you, you should offer him your other cheek. It seems like that you don't become... He's teaching the same thing, that you don't become implicated in karma by identifying with your rights under the law of retribution, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but you become
Yeah, but we have a duty to protect our property as well, and there are injunctions against perpetrators who will steal your property or destroy it or so forth. And when Vasudeva was being threatened by Kamsa, he also invoked this rule that you must protect your body because it's what you have in order to become self-realized. And therefore to sound an alarm or to, put a defense against that is also reasonable because it's pragmatic. So just in summary, we began speaking tonight about how the senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living and bewilders him. And then Krishna is going on to say that in the beginning we have to curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses. And then he talks about the hierarchy of the senses. And in the last verse in this chapter, he says, thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. So we should develop this deliberate spiritual intelligence. This becomes a nishta, or we become firmly fixed in the clear idea that I am not the body, I am Krishna's servant, and we become directed by a higher authority, by the Shastra and by our purified intelligence and the supersoul from within. And by that, we can avoid becoming victimized by the lower senses. And this is a joyful life beyond the harassment of the desires that enter into the mental system and the demands of the senses. And then one can actually direct one's own activities. One becomes free. And this is real life. Any texts that have come in from anyone? And anyone that's online, that's on the telephone, that wants to speak up in the last couple of minutes? Okay, Srivas Prabhu?
I wish to beg forgiveness from you and for Akurunath Prabhu that he was asking a question and I just interrupted. So it's a breach of etiquette. I'm sorry.
we welcome such interruptions that are full of. Let's see.
We are told that we have 4 regulative principles. And when you're talking about the gambling and everything, it just came to me, is there a reason that there are these 4 and no other, or this is the specific? What is the effect
They're
of
the
these
4
principles?
basic categories of sinful life from which all others. It's mentioned in a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which won't come into my head right now. But it mentions that these are 4 activities that are naturally, that living beings in the material world have a natural propensity for.
Okay. So can we not moderate them? Why do we absolutely remove them? Because when we talk to people, everybody is different.
What do you mean absolutely
We choose to
remove them?
absolutely remove these options from our lifestyle.
Meaning?
We take a vow not to do
We
any
can
of these
replace
4.
them. We replace them. We don't absolutely remove anything. We just transfer. Like, we have the best kind of food instead of something from, a dead carcass or something like that.
Okay.
And if you need the taste, ghee is like, it should fulfill all your desires. And then gambling, you surrender to Krishna.
That's the biggest gamble you can
That's a
make.
big gamble. You put your life on the line. He says, Sarvadharman Parityaja.
Yes.
You say, all right, I'll try it, and then every day you wake up and you think, like, what's going to happen now? And then alcohol, intoxication, sweet rice. Huh? In kirtan. Yeah, Prabhupada, when the devotees first started going on Sankirtan and they started selling books, Mahatma describes this, I put it in my book, how they became so, he said it was like they were so intoxicated he couldn't find his way back to the van. And they wrote to Prabhupada and said, is this normal? And Prabhupada said, this is real intoxication.
And illicit sex.
Illicit sex? Of course, Krishna says, Dharma virodo bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshaba. If one engages in sex life, which is meant to procreate dharmic children, then he said, that's me. So there's no real, all sex is regulated at one point or another. It has to be, otherwise it's just animal life. That's why there's a men's and women's bathroom, and there's all kinds of just built into society, right? I mean, it's not, so we just we have it at a certain standard there, but then it gets more for those who are more advanced, who want to actually become more refined. Now we're going to put all the books away, and we have a text that came in, which we're going to have to hear right after the kirtan. And so stay tuned, everyone. Thank you very much. As efficiently and as quickly and respectfully as possible, let's put away all the books and the asanas. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Haribo. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarishatarine. Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande Aroti Shobha. Janavi Tata Bane Jagamana Loba Jagajana Mana Lobha Jagajana Mana Lobha Gaurangera Rotiko Shobha Jagajana Mana Lobha Gaurangera Rotik Shobha Jagajana Mana Lobha Jagajana Mana Lobha Jagajana Mana Lobha Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Nitai Gaur Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Dake ne nitai chan ba me gadadhara Nikate Advaita Shrini Vaschatradara Boshe Ache Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane Arati Korina Brahma Ari Devagani Nara Hari Ari Kori Chamara Thulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshari Gaya Sanjaya Mukunda Basu Goshari Gaya Shankha baje gandha baje baje karatala Shankha baje, Ganta baje, baje karatala. Madhura mridanga baje, Paramarasala. Madhura mridanga baje, Paramarasala. Madhur, madhur, madhur bhaje. Oh, madhur, madhur, madhur bhaje. Shankha bhaje, Kanta bhaje. Madhur, madhur, madhur bhaje. Shankha baje, Ganta baje, Madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Hey, madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Oh, madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Nitai Gaur Hari bol. Nitai Gaur Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Nitai Gaur Hari bol. Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Hujwala. Bahu Koti Chandra Jini Vadana Hujwala. Hey! Kala Deshe Vanamala Kore Jhalamala. Gala Deshe Vanamala Kore Jhalamala. Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gada Gada. Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gada Gada. Pakati Vinoda Deke Gaurada Sampada. Galat Bhakati Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sampada Bhakti Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sampada Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namah Hare Hare Radhaya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hey Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudan. Thai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Thai Gaur Hari Bol. Go Premanande, Shri Nam Sankirtan Ki, Shri Nam Mantra Ki, Shri Nam Prabhu Ki, Go Premanande, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gacharya Stotarist Shishimana Bhai Charanara Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivraj Gacharya Stotarist Shishimana Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavindi Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki. Shri Jagannath Puri Ki. Shri Varshana Dham Ki. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki. Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Go Premanande Haribo.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladila Dedaine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Yami tato narsimha.
First, we'd like to welcome that's good, I got this. We'd like to welcome everyone tonight, and especially those who are here for the first time to the ISV temple. Anyone who's here for the first time, by the way? Welcome. Let's give a hand to our guest. Hare Krishna. Would you like to introduce yourself to the devotees?
My name is Ankit. I'm from India. I got admitted in Santa Clara University. So I came over. I'm a graduate student at Santa Clara. Yes. I'm from Gurgaon, Delhi. Yes.
And your name again?
Ankit.
Let's give Ankit a warm welcome. A little warmer, though. A little warmer.
Thank you. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Maharaj.
Anyone else here for the first time? Hare Krishna.
My name is Rakesh Bansal, and I just came to know about this temple on Janmashtami, so I wanted to visit. I live in Los Gatos. I'm from New Delhi.
Anyone else? How about second time? Oh, there you go.
Yeah, my name is Omar. I'm from San Mateo. I came to see it and I like it.
And we like you. Thanks for coming. Great to see you here. Hare Krishna. How is everyone else? Oh, good. Okay. So, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma, Vijitatma Jitendriya, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, Kurvanapina Lipyate. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that one is Yoga Yukta, one who always stays in touch with yoga, means always stays connected to Krishna, and is a pure soul, Vishuddha Atma. Vijitatma means a person whose senses are controlled, Jitendriya, and has conquered the senses. It's a self-controlled person and has conquered the senses. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, and is a kind friend to all other living entities. That person is not overcome by Kurvanapi Nalipyate. No matter what kind of work that person does, he doesn't become affected by sin, by the sinful reaction that comes from that work. So this International Society for Krishna Consciousness is quite unique. We have fairly high standards, very high standards actually, for those who want to get very serious in spiritual life. And we have all kinds of entry levels for people who are just starting off in spiritual life. And so it's actually meant to be spread. And we have this mission here at ISV to reach out in many different ways, through culture, through distribution of literature, through giving talks, through meeting people in many different places, so that others can come in contact with the process of bhakti yoga as enunciated in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we have all these literatures available. We not only have them, we stockpile them, and we teach them and so forth. And then, of course, there's the process of chanting Hare Krishna. And in the Brihat Naradiya Purana, there's a famous verse, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalonas Devanas Devanas Deva Gatiranyata. Then in this age, which is Kali, where things are very difficult, especially for spiritual life, there's no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way than chanting the holy names, chanting the holy names, chanting the holy names. This is the process brought to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and is most recommended in the Kali Yuga age. Anyone, anywhere can chant God's names and become purified and be yoga yukta, connected to God directly by just speaking His name. So let's say the Mahamantra one time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, So the International Society for Krishna Consciousness is also famous as the Hare Krishna movement, because everywhere we go, people say, Hare Krishna. There's another Hare Krishna. And this is good, because even if someone unknowingly says the holy name, unconsciously, apanas hamsritim goran yanama vivashogranan tatasadyo vimucheta yabhipeti swayam bhayam. Even unconsciously, if somebody chants the holy name of the Lord, they get so much benefit from that. So we're very excited to have this new temple here in Mountain View, and this is a step up from where we were. We kept the vibration going there for many years, and now we are intending to expand it here from Mountain View. And we have designs on the whole Silicon Valley, actually the whole Bay Area, to expand this process of chanting Hare Krishna and teaching the Bhagavad Gita. And we have many, many programs. So we invite everyone to come be a part of ISV. Everyone can join. Everyone can have service here. Make your life successful and blissful by just joining in and doing whatever you can to help the mission. That's how it works. And we also tonight are going to be serving prasadam. Also, I see that Hari Guru Prabhu is in the room, which is always good news. He's the very handsome young man over by the pillar there with the big smile. This is Hari Guru Prabhu. He's heading up our program to protect cows. We're starting in a small, humble way, but he has started a Goshala project, which is not too far from here, where it's a larger dairy, but he's made arrangements to have some of those cows protected for lifetimes, for their entire lives. And we're taking the milk from those cows, and he's offering it to the devotees here at ISV for those who are interested in having milk from Goshala cows. Yes? I was given a cow as a gift, and she's still there. She's at Govardhan Hill and Karuna Sindhu. And if you're ever out at Govardhan, you can go visit her. Bring her some som papuri. She likes sweets. Or bananas. Any announcement for tonight? Hari Guru? Do you have milk? Tomorrow morning we'll have milk, and that brings us to the next topic, and that is tomorrow is the appearance day of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the eternal consort of Krishna, and she appears tomorrow. So starting at 4:30 a.m., we're going to have festivities here. There'll be a Mangalartik at 4:30 a.m. So just get up at 3 or 3:30 and then take a bath and come on down. It's the most auspicious time of the day for spiritual life. We'll all be here, and we're going to chant for Radha and Krishna. And then there's a nice atmosphere. You can sit in here at that time and chant japa. And if you don't have japa beads, we can supply some for you. A little meditation, a little dhyan, to fix your name on your mind on the names of the Lord. And you can sit in here very peacefully, and then you can even miss rush hour. You can head out for work right after that, if you like. At 7:30 a.m., there'll be the Darshan Artik. The curtains will open at 7:30, and Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan will be there in all their splendor for Radhashtami. It's the only day of the year in which the pujaris reveal the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, and that's on the Radhashtami day. So you'll have to be here for that. Then, in the evening time, starting at 6 p.m., we're going to have great festivities here, including an Abhishekam and big kirtans. There'll be a lecture by a visiting Swami. His name is Keshava Bharatidas Goswami. He lives at Govardhan Hill, but he just happens to be staying here in the Bay Area. He's actually leaving on Friday morning, so take advantage. This is the last time you'll have to see him for a while. And he'll be giving a talk about the glories of Srimati Radharani. And after that, there'll be a prasadam feast. So please come, bring all your friends. Take advantage. Just by being at these festivals, you get special mercy. That's where it comes from. It doesn't come from working hard. Lots of people work hard. It doesn't mean they get ahead, and it doesn't mean they get any happier than they are now. It doesn't even mean you get to get more money if you work harder. But if you just come and have darshan on these special days, your heart will fill up with a kind of happiness that you can't explain. because it comes from Krishna. It's special mercy. And that's why we have this temple here, to give everyone that opportunity. Radha and Krishna actually have appeared here. They appear in their Archa Vigraha form. Krishna agrees to appear in wood, stone, metal, and so forth in order to avail himself to those devotees who are walking around in this world. And he accepts our service. So if you come here, just offer a little service. Krishna's not very demanding. In the Bhagavad Gita, he says, Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayashiti taram bhakti paritam ashnami pariyatatmana. If you just offer me a leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. And this is just offer bhakti. Of course, on the other side, Krishna doesn't necessarily see what we give him, he sees what we hold back. So if you have more than that, it's always nice to give as much as possible, because then you become relieved of the anxiety of maintaining whatever it is you're holding on to. For instance, wealth. It's very difficult to hold on to. You have to calculate it all the time. You start thinking about how you're going to lose it. Maybe the IRS will take it. Someone's going to take it, one way or the other. So better give it to Krishna before somebody else takes it. Then you'll have eternal benefit. And if you just save it and you don't give it to Krishna and it goes away, then you've just lost it, that's all. You've lost an opportunity. So that's the excitement of devotional service. How much you can surrender to Krishna before the material nature takes away everything you have anyway. Fun, right? Yeah. So tonight we had Sanatan Sundaram cooking in the kitchen, and we're going to serve out prasadam. Let's give a hand for Sanatan Sundaram. I saw Gandharvika Radha in the kitchen also. Maybe she was helping out a little bit. There's other devotees that are in there right now that are getting ready for tomorrow's feast, cutting up. Some devotees are coming at 2 a.m. this morning. And, Hansa Priya told me she'll be here at 2 to start preparing for the next day, for the festival, for Radhashtami. And I even saw Priya Kishori in that kitchen chanting japa, helping out. So the vibration is very powerful in there today. So this prasadam is going to be something special. So it'll be served just outside here. It's all ready to go, I think. And we welcome everybody. We'll see you at 4:30 a.m. And on Saturday morning, there's another program at 7:30 a.m. Tomorrow we'll see at 4:30, Saturday at 7:30 a.m., and Sundays at 4 o'clock. Thank you very much. And now we'll just recite a prayer we say before prasadam, which is, "O my Lord, this body is a network of senses leading to death. And out of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and difficult to control. But you're very kind, and you have sent us nice prasadam to satisfy and control the tongue. So just by doing this, we can attain the favor of the Lord. So let's call out for the help of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna and glorify them by taking this Mahaprasad. Sharira Vijajal, Jodendriya Tahikal, Jibe Bilivisha Shogade, Karmaje Divayati, Lobamoy Sudurmati, Takejita Katina Shangshare, Krishna Bodadoyamoy, Guribare Jivajay, Shaprasad Dilubai, Shayanamrita Pao, Radha Krishna Gunagao, Premi Dako Chaitanya Nitai. Jai Mahaprasad Ki Jai. Now, for all of you who are here for the first time, you'll see Mukharavind, this tall young man standing almost taking up the whole archway there. He will, if you like, take your name and information so that you can stay in touch with ISKCON Silicon Valley. He'll come around and just see if you need anything, if there's anything we can do for you, any questions that you have. He'll take care of you tonight. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Please come take prasadam.